No start had players smiling and confident. But then it happened. The curse of the dome. Coach Mike Holmgren watched his Packers get blitzed once again in a dome stadium where the Pack has a dismal record of 3-9. And today the curse could continue as Green Bay faces Rick Meyer and the Seattle Seahawks in the Kingdome. Next. Welcome to the great indoors of the Pacific Northwest as Fox Television Sports presents the NFL. Today, the Green Bay Packers against the Seattle Seahawks. Hi again, everyone, with Jerry Glanville. This is Kevin Harlan. Green Bay was beaten last week by the Vikings up in Minnesota. Next week, they travel down to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. But in between, Jerry, they've got today here in Seattle against the Seahawks. How do they approach this afternoon?
I think they approach this game, the Green Bay Packers, with full focus because they got beat. If they're still undefeated, they'd be liable to looking at the Bears for next week. But because they got beat, they have to get back to work, and they're ready to get after the Seahawks.
Vikings got them last week in Minneapolis, 30-21. You've had a chance to look at those tapes.
Pass protection. The lack of caused Favre not to be effective. He didn't have time to throw the pass. And most of the problem was Gary Brown, the left tackle. But the coaches should have helped him. The tight end was the other side. The center went the other way. The halfback didn't chip. So Gary Brown got beat bad.
Now for Seattle. They come in 1-3. You know, Jerry, before the season, everybody thought this Seahawks team might be bound for the playoffs after finishing 8-8 a year ago.
Their big problem is Chris Warren. Chris Warren is not running after contact. He's been a great back here for 5 years, running after people hit him. Now he's going down with an arm tackle, getting knocked down and not fighting for that extra yard.
He had to leave the game last week against Tampa with cramps and dehydration. So let's take a look at the Seahawks. How do they beat the favored Packers?
Well, the Seahawks have to run with the champ. The champ is Chris Warren. He's got to do it. Run after, be tough, be physical. He was physical for 5 years. Get physical again.
How about Green Bay coming off the adversity of last week's loss?
Well, they've done one thing. They've taken John Michaels, moved him as a replacement for Gary Brown at the offensive tackle position. But he will be on an island out there, so, well, we'll see what happens if his pass protection is better than Brown's.
25,000 Packer fans have filled the Kingdome, a capacity crowd. The Seahawks and Green Bay coming up next from Seattle.
Get back up to the forefront, baby. Get up in there. 1, 2, 3, go.
Watch the Seahawks screen the Packers.
Seattle, Washington. It is a perfect day indoors. We're in the Kingdome with Jerry Glanville. This is Kevin Harlan, our entire Fox Network crew, bringing you the Packers against the Seahawks. Mike Holmgren on the right, losing last week on AstroTurf. Jerry, he has lost 12 of his last 13 games.
But he's lost those games to the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers in Detroit. He may have lost those games if they're playing out in the cow pasture.
And then Dennis Erickson. We have two former college quarterbacks going at it today as you take a look at Todd Peterson and deep back Don Beebe, number 82, coupled with Dorsey Levin. The Seahawks, the Packers, here we go from Seattle. Don Beebe from the 2-yard line will take it out for Green Bay, and he hurdles a defender and is out to the 22-yard line where he is brought down by Ronnie Harris. Now let's take a look at the Green Bay Packers and 26-year-old Brett Favre, last year's MVP at the very top of his game. 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions so far. On the offensive line, Jerry's told you about the rookie Michaels making his first start today with Taylor, Winters, Timmerman, and Earl Dotson the best on the line. Backfield of Bennett, along with Henderson. Freeman and Brooks are the wide receivers, and the all-pro tight end is Mark Chimera, and we'll see a lot of Keith Jackson today. From the 22-yard line, first down and 10 yards to go, and Favre will go right to work and throws, and it's broken up and incomplete at the 35-yard line. The hit of Darrell Williams was put on the Packer receiver, who is down and maybe out at the 35-yard line. That is Robert Brooks.
And he's not moving, Kevin. What a stick to open up the ball game. Watch the throw to Brooks. And as you said, Darrell Williams, good timing. Turned him right around.
Robert Brooks is still down. Only reception last week against Minnesota was a touchdown. And aside from that, just the one reception of the day.
And he is the man for Brett Favre. He's the guy Favre's looking for.
We had a long talk with him yesterday here in Seattle.
In fact, I asked him how he made the move, the flanker, so quick, and he said that when he was the starting split end, he did practice as a flanker, and that got the timing so that when he was finally moved over there, when was it Sharp that left, he moved right in, and then he became the man.
Let's take a look at the Seattle defense where we have a moment, and there's the man, Mike Sinclair, who leads the NFL in sacks coming in today. Other side, they got Michael McCrary in the middle. Two good tackles in Kennedy along with former #1 pick Sam Adams. The linebackers, Michael Barber, Dean Wells, and the ex-Raider Winston Moss. And in the secondary, they got Harris on one side of the corner, Carlton Gray out of UCLA on the other. In the middle, Darrell Williams, who comes here as a unrestricted free agent from Cincinnati, along with Robert Blackman. As they're still taking a look at Robert Brooks. Yesterday in visiting with Mike Coleman, we talked, Jerry, about the lack of injuries the Green Bay Packers have gone through. I mean, really, aside from Sharp, no major injuries to starters over the last couple years. The reason why they've been so successful.
And that's, as you say, that's how you keep on winning football games. Look at Brett Favre kneeling over his top-notch receiver, Robert Brooks. And Favre, very interested in whether Brooks is going to be all right, because that is the guy, the strong side receiver. The receiver to the tight end side in Green Bay is the passing game. So this is the most important position for the quarterback.
Well, this was the very first play from scrimmage in the game, and a pass on 1st and 10 from Brett Favre.
I think he got hit right on the jaw. If you look at the helmet of Darrell Williams, he hits him right on the jaw, just like a heavyweight fight. And he may have caught like a big-time uppercut from Mike Tyson, and that'll knock you out in a minute.
Aside from Brett Favre and the ankle injury a year ago, Reggie White had the hamstring, but again, no major starter for Green Bay has ever, at least in the last couple years, had the kind of injuries that a lot of teams have been afflicted with. In fact, in talking with a couple of scouts around the AFC and NFC over the last couple of weeks, they think the deepest team, Jerry, in the NFC is Green Bay. In the AFC, they mentioned Kansas City
yeah,
and Buffalo, but this Green Bay team has been basically injury-free.
Well, you find out, a lot of times you think you got a good back. They're bringing the golf cart out right now to pick him up. I think he got knocked out with the top of the helmet of Darrell Williams right on the jaw. It hit him right on the jaw, and I think he got knocked out like a heavyweight fighter. So
as we get a report on the sideline right now, let's take a local McDonald's bean break. Turn to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Kevin, Oakland had a 17-3 third quarter lead. Jeff Jaeger, the ex-Raider, boots through his 4th field goal, that a 30-yarder, and the game winner. Chicago upends Oakland right there, 19-17. And, of course, next week, it's Chicago against Green Bay at Chicago. Take it back out to Seattle. Kevin Harlan and the Natalie attired Jerry Glanville.
All right, James, thank you very much. So they cut Kevin Butler in camp because he's too expensive. They signed Carlos Huarte, and he is let go because he misses 3 field goals in 3 games. Last week in Detroit, they bring in Jaeger, who hits a long field goal from 47 yards. And today he has the game winner, the ex-Raider, beating his old boss, Al Davis, and Oakland.
I bet he feels good. There's nothing like beating your old boss. I had the opportunity to do that a couple of times. Here's Brooks getting up. We're going to show you one look. Watch the jaw of Brooks, because I believe the helmet of Darrell Williams is going to hit him right on the jaw. Imagine yourself running in here, having get hit like this. Watch the helmet. Watch the helmet. Right on the jaw. See it? That'll give you some cobwebs upstairs, and he'll be all right. I think take him in the locker room, get him some smelling salts, revive him. And you ask him where you are, what area code on you, what city are you in right now. If he's saying I'm in Green Bay, then he won't be allowed to go in. You see him holding out fingers. How many fingers you see over here? He says, I don't even see the hand. That's what's going on as you ride off on the golf cart.
So again, on the very first play from scrimmage, Green Bay has the injury to their top receiver, one of the best in the NFL, Robert Brooks, and this is the way it sounded field level.
That sound there, that'll keep you in the bed for a while.
Incomplete on first down. Second down, 10 yards to go. Green Bay at their own 22. And our first look today at Edgar Bennett, 1,000-yard gainer from a year ago. He picks up 4 to the 26 before he is tackled by Michael Barber.
There's Brooks walking down the corridor. They're gonna try to give him a little smelling salts, and this may force Green Bay to run the ball more. Green Bay may come down now and decide. Here's a split set, unusual to run a lead draw on a split. He's going to go after the linebacker, try to dig off Michael Barber out of there, and it may make Packers a little bit more run conscious. Reasons go. 3rd and long.
3rd down and 6 from the 26-yard line, and Brett Favre's changing the play.
Audible with Hanson. Move. Can't run that unless you go split. Move the fullback over. Oh, right tackle move.
And they got him to move, and there go the flags, and there go the whistles, and they'll blow it dead with 14:04 remaining in the first quarter, and we have no score. Green Bay getting the opening kickoff as Ron Blum surveys the activity, our referee today here at the Kingdome in Seattle.
And Blum's about as good as as there is in the league. We get to watch this crew a lot. I think that was Earl Dotson jumping because of the crowd noise in the dome, although the Packer fans, they make as much noise as the home crowd does.
Noise was a problem last week, and it is against Green Bay.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72 offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Dotson, I saw him jump, saw him flinch, and he's on their best pass rusher. He's on Michael Sinclair, the guy that leads the league in sacks.
Green Bay's offense last week, Jerry, with a lot of the same acoustics they've got here today. Last week in Minneapolis, 6 offensive penalties.
And I wouldn't think that the noise would bother them that much, because full credit to the Packer fans, they bring as many fans to these dome games as the home team does.
Green Bay's got a 3rd down. Last week on 3rd down, Green Bay was 1 for 11. For the season, 46%. Favre on 3rd and 11. Being chased, and he gets a block. And Brett Favre will run out of bounds at the 25, well shy of the 1st down. Sam Adams chased him out of bounds. He had to get to the 32, and it's 4th down for Green Bay.
Instant pressure off the right side. Last week, they had trouble blocking on the left offensive side. Watch the right side. You got your guard and you got your tackle. Watch these two guys, because someone's coming up here too quick. That's Adam Timmerman getting beat. Sam Adams, #1 draft pick a few years back, and hadn't played up today yet. Maybe he'll crank it up today.
First punt today by Craig Hendrick, and deep back they got Joey Galloway, who is a threat, one of the best in the NFL at returning punts. No score in the first quarter as Hendrick sends it wobbly, landing at the 40. And Galloway will just let it bounce at about the 30-yard line, and that's where Seattle will start things. 1st down and 10 yards to go on the punt of 44 yards by Craig Hendrick. Now let's take a look at the Seahawks offense and Rick Meyer. Meyer has 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions so far. Jerry, he's been sacked 13 times. He's not getting a lot of help from his offensive line.
Well, the line's a weak part for their offense, so he will escape. He'll look to one receiver today and take off running. Go ahead. We had a chance to interview this guy, and what a competitor's inside this guy.
Atkins, Cunningham, Mawa, Graham, and Ballard on the line. Warren in the backfield with Strong, Blades, and Galloway, the receivers, and Christian Poirier is the tight end. They begin with 3 wideouts, including Porter to the passes caught by Brian Blades, then dropped at the 35-yard line. It's incomplete. Now Green Bay's defense anchored on the line by Reggie White. The best part of the defense is the line. Jones and White on the outside. Brown and Dotson, the former Buccaneer, on the inside. Linebackers, Williams, Kuntz moves in the middle, and Wayne Simmons had a great game last week against the Vikings. In the secondary, they got Evans on one corner, Newsom on the other. Great cornerbacks, young ones too. The former Seahawk Robinson with Leroy Butler playing the strong safety. 2nd down and 10 yards to go for the Seahawks, their first possession.
And he's audible. When he slapped his helmet, that told the new route. To put in a new route on that audible.
And Meyer throws, and the pass is brought down, but caught out of bounds. Brian Blades can't get his feet in bounds. It's incomplete, covered on the corner by Doug Evans.
And there's an out route to the wide receiver. And if you're with the Green Bay Packers, you've been saying all the outside people are going to run inside routes. So this is a little change-up from what they had on film.
By the way, an update on Robert Brooks. The preliminary diagnosis from the sideline that we get is a concussion. We'll update that and give you the official word in just a few moments. 3rd down and 10, shy of the 30 for the Seahawks. Reggie White, there's a fumble. They call it an incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. The ball is down. Incomplete. And White just sent Meyer into next week. It's 4th down, and Green Bay's defense makes a big statement early in the game.
Does anybody know Reggie's on this team? Nobody blocks Reggie. Reggie comes in there untouched by human hands. How can you have a Reggie White you're facing and turn him loose to come smack your quarterback? That's not good football.
White makes his presence felt very early in the game, and Seattle will punt. Rick Tootin, one of the best punters over the last 4 years in the NFL, will punt to Desmond Howard, and he is a threat. Howard will take it from the 27-yard line, and he's got a block and he's got an alley. Desmond Howard, the former Heisman Trophy winner, is inside Seattle territory to the 44-yard line. It's a punt of 45 with a Howard return of 29. Green Bay will get it for a second time. We have no score.
Sunday is brought to you by the new 1997 Toyota Camry, now better than ever. By Nike. By the new Coors Light Wide Mouth Can. Tap the Rockies with a smoother pour. And by 1-800-COLLECT, the way we call collect today.
Beautiful look just outside the Kingdome here in Seattle with Jerry Glanville. This is Kevin Harlan. Green Bay, their second possession. Keith Jackson is now the tight end. Don Beebe takes the place of the injured Robert Brooks. Freeman is on the other side. On the Seattle 45, Green Bay 1st down and 10. And again, Favre throwing on 1st down, being chased. And Favre hit, nimbly gets away. And Brett Favre finds nice refuge on the sideline. He picks up 4, chased out of bounds by Sam Adams.
They had pass protection problems last week. And this time they're breaking down inside with the guard. Again, it's Adam Timmerman getting beat by Sam Adams. It's the right guard that's breaking down. Last week is the left tackle.
But that interior, too, of the center and the 2 guards had a tough day, and the pocket was collapsing on Favre all day against the Vikings.
And let's talk, you talk about Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy. They got 2 defensive tackles that can play.
2nd down and 7 for quarterback Brett Favre. Dorsey Levens is in the backfield. Jackson is in motion. Favre with a throw, and it's almost picked off, incomplete. Dean Wells, the middle linebacker, and a 4th-year player out of Kentucky, just got a hand on it. It'll be 3rd and long.
Dean Wells, another guy that we decide we better interview because all he does is play good football. And the inside linebacker, watch him drop back into the zone. Drop back, get in the route, swat it down. Here's a guy that played defensive end at Kentucky. Played high school football in Louisville. Went to Kentucky, and they made him a rush in. So he had a couple of years of figuring out how to drop and get in the right spots. Comes out on 3rd down, but plays 1st and 2nd down. Excellent.
Kind of a free spirit.
Oh, yeah, he is.
3rd down and 7. Levens in the backfield. Chimera is the tight end. And Brett Favre throws low and incomplete, looking for Desmond Howard, who now becomes the 3rd receiver with Robert Brooks injured. Coverage by Darrell Williams and Dexter Sigler, and for a 2nd consecutive possession, Green Bay's got to punt the ball.
Well, Favre had time that time. They had protection, but he threw a dirt ball. Now, ordinarily, you give Favre time, he can throw on the run, scrambling either way, but that was a bad throw by the league's MVP.
So Green Bay can't take advantage of great beginning field position at the Seattle 45, and the nice 29-yard return by Desmond Howard, and Craig Hendrick comes in to punt for a 2nd time today. Joey Galloway is about the 10-yard line. This will be a little pooch punt, very high, and of course indoors, great conditions for kicking, and they can save this one. It's going to be near the 10-yard line, and finally Green Bay downs it with William Henderson at the 10. That's a 32-yard punt with great placement by Craig Hendrick. No score opening period from Seattle. Game 2 of the American League Division Series as the Texas Rangers face the New York Yankees. Then on Thursday, it's Game 2 of the National League Division Series. Atlanta takes on either Los Angeles or San Diego. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Chuck, local listings for the game and time in your area right here on the Fox Television Network. Kevin Harlan and Jerry Glanville along with Reggie White and the Packers against the Seahawks in no score. 2nd possession for Rick Meyer, who has started the game 0 for 3. 1st down and 10 yards to go from the Seahawk 11. And the first look we've had, and Chris Warren, who gets a yard, running right smack dab into the grasp of Gilbert Brown on the defensive line.
Boy, you see too much. Gilbert Brown stood everybody up. At least that time they tried to block Reggie. Don't forget, if I'm Rick Meyer and I'm the quarterback, I'm a little gun shy when you don't block somebody as good as Reggie. Big 93's the man. Gilbert Brown, he'll stand up everybody. I don't think the guards are good enough for Seattle to handle Santana, Dotson, and Gilbert Brown.
Meyer has deployed 4 wide receivers, 2nd down and 8 yards to go. And the ball batted down near the line of scrimmage by linebacker Wayne Simmons, who, Jerry, had a terrific game last week against the Vikings.
Well, if you ever sit and talk to this guy lives for physical contact and to play football. We asked him about, what about playing on turf and indoors? He said, it's a jinx. Nothing the way we play, it's a jinx. Well, they got a man out Reggie this time. That was a bad throw. We have not had a completed pass in the game yet. Now, one quarterback has a completion.
Meyer is 0 for 4. Favre is 0 for 3. 3rd down and 8 for Rick Meyer. Good as he throws short and incomplete to Brian Blades. And Meyer was back pretty good. He gets up off the turf. Nice hit by Sean Jones. And Green Bay's defense once again has forced a Seattle fumble.
Well, if you're Rick Meyer right now, Kevin, you're wondering where is everybody coming from? And how can you turn loose Reggie White? Can't hide. He's 325 pounds. Somebody's got to block these big people. That quarterback's going to go. The last punt, by the way, that the Packers returned was a line drive. Had no hang time, and that's how they brought it back 29 yards on it.
Desmond Howard with the great return is back near midfield. Rick Tootin with his 2nd punt today. Wow. This one is much better. He gets it way downfield, driving Howard back to his own 24-yard line, and Desmond Howard runs out of bounds at the 34. So Green Bay will get it for a 3rd time. They've had it twice before. They've punted both times, and we are scoreless in the first period. Desmond Howard back to get his 2nd punt return of the afternoon.
Well, this will make you sick. I don't know why you'd pay a guy to run over there and run out of bounds. The game's 0-0. The game's on the line. You got to have more guts than that. He's getting pushed and shoved around. You cannot take the ball and run out of bounds and play in this league. Come on!
Well, had a 35-yard punt return against Minnesota last week, a 29-yarder already today, and we'll see if he busts one later on. Green Bay, their 3rd possession, 1st down and 10 yards to go, and they have an Edgar Bennett run for 3, and he is tackled by the interior of that defense. Jerry, last week the Vikings, with an unbelievable, furious pass rush, overwhelmed Green Bay's offensive line. What do you see early in this game? 2
excellent defensive tackles. You know, they're going to have a hard time. They're running up in there. They're trying to isolate. But I think the Packers line will have trouble with Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy. Run or pass.
Desmond Howard comes in as a receiver. 2nd down and 7 to go for Green Bay. No score, first quarter. Another handoff, this time to Dorsey Levens, and Levens works his way to the 40, picking up 3, and he is brought down by Dean Wells, the middle linebacker.
Dean Wells, the guy that we went and talked to, he's a bachelor in the offseason. He spends a month with his brother in Florida. He goes all around. Watch him play linebacker like you'd want him to play for your football team. Got a hold, hangs on, guy out of Louisville, Kentucky. Bishop David High School.
Green Bay's got a 3rd and 4. Green Bay has missed their last 11 consecutive 3rd downs going back to last week in Minnesota.
Fake blitz, no blitz.
And Favre throws, and that's incomplete. They were going for the tight end, Mark Chimura, as Favre was nimbly rolling out of the pocket, and Robert Blackman was there defending. It's incomplete for a 3rd consecutive possession. Green Bay's got to punt the ball.
And that's a swat by Robert. A swat means you get your hand after the guy has it caught. The back's going to come out here, and he's going to swat it. Watch his right hand and swat it. See him swat the ball right down the ground. You get the ball on the ground, and that's Blackman. Guy played out of Baylor University, out of a little small school in Texas.
3rd punt today for Craig Hendrick, and this is a beauty. Joey Galloway, the catch, and they'll take it from his own 9-yard line. And he dances around just a bit and gets to the 14-yard line, where he is brought down by Travis Jervey. It's a return of 6 yards after a 52-yard punt by Craig Hendrick. And once again, Seattle starts with their backs against the wall. Last time they had it, they began back at their own 11-yard line. Well, after today, Minnesota losing against the Giants, dropping to 4-1. Should Green Bay win? First place tie. If Green Bay loses, they're tied with Detroit, which absolutely destroyed Tampa Bay today, and Chicago winning in the final seconds against Oakland in Chicago. From the 14-yard line, Seattle's third possession of the day. Warren by himself in the backfield. Little play action by Meyer. And he throws to the tight end, Christian Fourier, and he picks up 10 yards onto the 24, brought down by Brian Williams.
Well, we asked Rick Meyer, if you had your choice, what would you choose? You don't get any signals. You call what you want. What'd he say? Bootleg. And I think against this defensive line of the Packers, that's his chance. There's your tight end. Pretty good guy, second-round pick a year ago, but the quarterback got out of the pocket because he can't run with the bootleg.
The official word we're getting from the Green Bay locker room, a concussion for Robert Brooks, out for the game. He was hurt on the first play. First down and 10 yards to go. No score here in Seattle. And it goes on the end around. And with it, Joey Galloway with the quarterback blocking. And Galloway's got the first down. And he's out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
Man, you make a good play like that, and he ran out of bounds. We got too many guys running out of bounds. Now, Galloway says, I don't really want to do punt returns. I really want to catch the ball. This is sort of like a punt return with a deep reverse. All the line pulling to the left. Here comes Galloway with the quarterback blocking. Get a block, Meyer. Get a block. Yeah, oh, he tried. He tried. We'll give him a half a credit. Now, don't run out of bounds. Come on. What's going on here today?
4 wide receivers now for the Seahawks, including Joey Galloway. First down and 10. Here comes Chris Warren, a 3-time Pro Bowler who has led the AFC in rushing the last 4 consecutive years, brought down by Gilbert Brown. Brown makes his second tackle on the afternoon.
Well, if you're a Seahawk fan, the pile moved, and that's what Warren wasn't doing. There wasn't much there, but he hit it up in there. At least the pile moved, and he's got to run more physical. We're going to chart his yardage, how much yard he gains after somebody hits him. That's how he was good. He hadn't been doing that this year.
Had to leave last week because of dehydration down in Tampa. In Seattle's 17-13 win. Second down and 8 yards to go from the 43-yard line. Great time for Meyer. Moves up and throws, and the pass is caught by Chris Warren. He's got a first down into Packer territory at the 46. That's a gain of 11 after the end around produced 16 from Joey Galloway.
Well, if you're in Seattle and you're televised at home, first time since '94, sit up on the end of your couch because Warren's running after somebody smacks him. This is a first for this year. This is how he made his reputation. Stick it in there, pull it out, little dunk, runs right off the. Was that George Kunz couldn't make the tackle? George didn't make a good hit. At least he didn't run out of bounds. We don't want to see anybody else run.
Another first down for Seattle.
4 wides.
With Warren in the backfield from the Green Bay 46 for the Seahawks. And Meyer going deep, and nobody's there except Eugene Robinson.
Man, what an interception.
The former Seahawk and the all-time leading tackler for Seattle has just picked off his former teammate, and he takes it back to the Seattle 46-yard line. A return of 31 yards as Rick Meyer has just thrown his 6th interception this year. And who better to get it for Green Bay and the homecoming for Eugene Robinson.
I guess he thought there was going to be a post corner, or he was throwing it away. The ball's going to end up there. Watch this safety. There's no receiver. Watch, pardon me, this safety right here. Watch him go. He knows the route, and the receivers don't. Galloway went down inside for the post. Eugene Robinson played here all those years. In fact, he says he's going to live here when the season's over. There's his family. They're all sitting up there. They're saying, 12 of them. That's my main man.
12 family members. He played 11 seasons in Seattle. Green Bay now trying to capitalize on a first down run by Edgar Bennett inside the 40 and tackled after a first down run of 12 by Robert Blackman.
They came in a split formation. A good job because the ball's supposed to go follow the fullback. Follow the fullback inside. Watch him bounce it. He doesn't like it. There's the block by William Henderson. And he just follows, Aaron Taylor all the way around the corner. Aaron Taylor did the lead. A little bit old Vince Lombardi sweep that time.
Second time Green Bay has started in Seahawk territory. As you see the first 1,000-yard rusher in 17 years, Edgar Bennett. Did it a year ago, and Bennett again. And he takes it up the middle of the 22-yard line. Tackled by Winston Moss. It's another Green Bay first down.
And that's you make it look the same. They came split like it's going to be a wide play, and you just spin around. He cuts it up over the middle. Edgar Bennett, he's the guy with the quick feet. Years ago, he was the fullback. We did the game and couldn't figure out that quick of feet should go to tailback, and they made the move for him.
Green Bay and Seattle playing in a timeout for the Seahawks and coach Dennis Erickson. No score. 10. Robinson had the interception. They're at the Seahawks 22-yard line. We have no score. And Favre is hit and sacked. That's the first sack by Seattle today. Brett Favre was sacked last week 7 times. And Michael Sinclair with an NFL-leading 8th sack of the season.
And he's on Dotson with no help. The center's helping the guard this time. You can see up and back up underneath. And that's a sack. He leads the league.
They are salivating over his progress. He has had a great 6th season in the NFL. 2nd down and 12. Green Bay loses 2 on the center. And the handoff to Dorsey Levens, and he finds room as Levens breaks 1 tackle and stays on his feet inside the 15-yard line to the 13. He picks up 11 yards.
And you got a missed tackle in the secondary for the Seahawks. Ordinarily, we wouldn't say much. That doesn't happen in the Seahawks secondary. They're an excellent tackling team. Little draw, I think, because of losing Robert Brooks. You're going to see more running. And there's the missed tackle right there by all people. The guy that knocked out Robert Brooks. That's Darrell Williams missing the tackle.
Nice block by right guard Adam Timmerman as well.
They're going to have to run the ball to slow down the pass rush.
Green Bay now has missed on 12 consecutive 3rd down conversions dating back to last week. They got it 3rd and 1. Favre into the end zone, and it is a touchdown! Antonio Freeman.
Antonio Freeman went out to the flanker. Robert Brooks is out. Antonio Freeman went to the strong side. Beebe went to the weak side. Motion. It's a post corner. Starts inside and then breaks her back outside. And the protection, watch the protection. The quarterback has time. You give him time. There's the corner route. Put it right where he had to put it. No chance. Robert Blackman-Chase.
Extra point by Jackie on the Hendrick hold, and the snap by MacArthur is up and in. So Green Bay cashes in on the Eugene Robinson interception of Rick Meyer. Favre with the touchdown pass. That's his 13th of the year, and Green Bay on top, 7-0.
This man will come in motion. Here's Chimera, the tight end. Watch the in and then back to the outside. Nice job by the protector. You give Favre time. He hadn't had this for a while. Plenty of time. The ball will be right there. Drops it out of a well.
Well, it took him a couple series to do it, but he finally got it in. They had punted 3 consecutive times until the touchdown pass by Brett Favre.
And I think what you said, the big plays, the interception by Eugene Robinson.
Here's Antonio Freeman, who beat out Anthony Morgan for the starting wide receiver job. And Jerry, now that Robert Brooks is out with the concussion, Freeman may bear a little bit more weight the rest of the game here.
Not only more weight, it's sort of what that they do, what Brooks did when he was the split end. They took the split end and moved the flanker because they're a strong side tight end passing team. So he went to flanker, and Beebe came in at the split end position.
Green Bay came into today as the #1 team in the giveaway takeaway in the NFL. They now have 12 interceptions this year. They had 13, Jerry, all of last season. That makes a difference.
Well, that pressure they're putting on the quarterback, they're going to make interceptions this year.
Hendrick will kick off, and Steve Broussard from the 2-yard line will take it up. The running back will cut outside, and finally brought down at the 26-yard line by Green Bay's Tyrone Williams. Brett Favre with a good touchdown pass, capitalizing on the Rick Meyer interception, a couple plays, and a touchdown pass of his own.
Well, we can't tell you we talked to Brett Favre. They didn't allow us to talk to him yesterday, but here's the guy that I was in Atlanta when we drafted him. Here's the guy, what's inside of him. I told everybody he's got guts, he's got courage, and that was hard to believe last week because they had so much rush on him, he didn't have a chance to function.
Little known fact, you drafted him, but you did not trade him.
No, I tell you what, never go home for lunch if you're the head coach, and by the time you come back, some of your players are gone.
You hated to lose Favre.
Oh, you don't want to lose people with that much heart and that much fighting.
Seattle with pretty good field position, starting out at their own 26. First down and 10 yards to go, and Chris Warren can't find anything. Reggie White comes through with a nice tackle of Chris Warren. And White looked good and refreshed yesterday when we visited with him.
Well, White, unfortunately for the Packers defense last week, Reggie had to play 76 plays on defense, so he took some plays off, and he let people come in and substitute. They've been used to playing 40-plus plays, not 76.
Green Bay's defense came into today ranked #1 in the NFL. #1 defense in the NFL. Second down, Meyer pressured by White, throws it away. Looking maybe for Christian Fourier, I don't know. There were so many Packers in the way, it looked like he might have been thrown to the Packer defense. And Dennis Erickson has got to wonder what's going on with his young quarterback.
Well, there's the bootleg. And one thing about if you interview Reggie White or Sean Jones, they're both going to tell you, we got to stop the bootleg. So there's nobody blocking Reggie. The man makes, all kinds of money. He weighs 325, and we got 3 plays where nobody has on him, and he's at this.
Meyer last week led the Seahawks to a great come-from-behind win, a 10-point come-from-behind win down in Tampa, and finished the game 12 of 18. Today, he is 2 of 9. And he's got a 3rd and 12, and he throws, and he completed the pass to the former Denver Bronco and Atlanta Falcon, Mike Pritchard. It's his 5th catch of the year. It's a big one today, and he's beaten Craig Newsom a gain of 31 yards and a first down.
And Reggie White beat Howard Bellard instantly, was all over the quarterback. To make that throw with Big Reggie was pounding the quarterback. It was a great job by Reggie, but even a better job by Rick Meyer. Watch Reggie out here. Watch the instant upfield. There's a club with the right hand and coming after the quarterback.
Well, Meyer held in there well.
And Reggie told us, I can club this guy. I can start upfield, club with my right hand, and there's the club he talked about in the meeting.
First down and 10 for Rick Meyer, and again he goes deep, and he's got the receiver, and it's just off his fingertips, looking for James McKnight, who has not caught a pass all year. Seattle going with a lot of 4 wide receiver sets in this game. Coverage by Craig Newsom. And a penalty flag has been thrown.
Could be a late hit on the quarterback. Newsom also had some help from the safety Butler. Butler got over there.
Personal foul, necessary roughness, roughing the passer, 92 defense, 15 yards, first down.
Reggie White is 92.
He told me the most exhausting thing you can do as a pro football player is rush the quarterback play. They got the tight end out.
Which is smart.
Well, it's a little bit of mismatch in size, though.
But if he's coupling with the tackle, then he got 2-on-1. It looked like the tackle went inside.
They ran slide left and let the guy tried to clip Reggie. Oh, man, how would you like to get hit by Reggie? Hello, I'm in a different area, Coach.
What did Mike Holmgren tell us yesterday? That he thinks that Rick Meyer's the 2nd best running quarterback in the NFL behind Steve Young, as a 1st and 10 handoff goes to Chris Warren, and a couple of yards are all he can carve out of that Green Bay defensive front. This continues to be the biggest puzzle for the Seahawks. They can't figure out why Warren can't run the ball.
He reminds me of a guy that's looking for a hole rather than going in and create it. You can't take every play and try to make it a big, long run. You got to slam it around, and the big runs will come to you. Right now, he's dancing around. You got to slam it on in there. We need a full-speed contact run out of him.
Late first quarter, 7-0 Green Bay. 2nd down, 9 yards to go for quarterback Rick Meyer. And again he is hit, and he throws it away. Intercepted by Reggie White. And there he goes with the foot race, and Chris Warren is on him. And Reggie White had the ball knocked away. And it's loose and out of bounds. And it's Green Bay's ball inside the 10-yard line.
Great pressure on the quarterback by Sean Jones. Sean Jones is getting a sack. So as you saw, Meyer says, I'm going to throw it away, even though I'm in the grass. And he threw it to Reggie. Ballard's winning this time. Has Reggie, but nobody had Sean Jones. I don't remember Reggie running like this.
Great hands.
Now, good job by Warren. Same thing that Green Bay did last year. Robert Brooks last week tried to swat that ball out, swat it through the end zone.
His 3rd career interception, if you can believe that. And Reggie White makes the 2nd Packer interception today on quarterback Rick Meyer. So now, Green Bay, 1st and 10 from the 20. They say he was out at the 21-yard line. Not the 10, but they moved it back to the 21. Barr coming off a touchdown pass goes to Don Beebe, who's double covered and incomplete, in the former Buffalo Bill and Carolina Panther. Cannot get in. Reggie White trying to get a little oxygen.
Looking for some give me some air. It's the farthest I've run since the 6th grade picnic. He's trying to breathe it all in. Now, great protection. You're sitting at home. If you're in Green Bay, if you're in the UP in Michigan, nobody got near the quarterback.
Yesterday, you asked Reggie White, are you running sprints after practice? He said no. Defensive linemen, especially ones with chronic hamstring problems, don't run that far.
Well, he showed me the hole in his leg from the pulled hamstring. The reason I can't run that, look at this hole I got here. You can put 2 fingers in his hamstring. So he's a little bit out of condition because he can't stretch that hamstring.
Second down and 10, handoff goes to Dorsey Levens, and he tries to pile drive up the middle, and it looked like the entire defense had a hand on that as Mike Holmgren takes a look at his ready card and tries to get Green Bay in for a second time. Try to capitalize and cash in on another Seattle turnover.
Well, he calls all the plays. He's the guy. He's the man. He looks down there and says, I like this play. Wonder who wrote this one down. And he's going to come with that play. He just found his finger on it.
Well, he wrote it.
He wrote it. He did it all.
Most successful coach for the Packers since Vince Lombardi.
He's in good company.
Are facing 3rd down and 7 yards to go. Got it inside the Seahawks 20-yard line. Barr got a good block from Henderson, goes the other way for Bennett, and Bennett is tackled at the 18-yard line with great pursuit from Winston Moss.
Well, that was something. They had the courage to let Cortez Kennedy come in there. And when the ball was snapped, I said, man, they're going to let them rush because the quarterback's going to roll this way and throw the screen back this way. He smells it, and he can't stop it. Late cut. Look at him. He didn't get it. You got to say this, the Seattle defense playing pretty good deep.
Well, Seattle's defense keeps Green Bay out of the end zone for a touchdown, and now Green Bay have to settle just for 3 points on the attempt by Chris Jackie.
Chris needs a haircut. Look at all that hanging out of the back of his head.
It'll be a 36-yard attempt, and Green Bay goes on top as Jackie bangs it through 10-0. And Green Bay has cashed in on 2 Seattle turnovers. 10-0 Packers, 34 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Reggie White's interception set up that Green Bay possession. Well, tonight on the Fox Television Network, Fox Night at the Movies. John Woo, the director of the box. Lots of thievery by Green Bay.
Oh, boy, you're good. They're stealing those passes.
Eugene Robinson, an interception, coming back home to do it. Played 11 years for Seattle. Reggie White just had an interception for Green Bay, showing great hands. And there you see Eugene Robinson. Green Bay, now listen to this statistic. Green Bay last year, Jerry, intercepted 13 passes all season long. And they are now just in Game 5, not even halfway through Game 5, and they've intercepted 13 passes already this year.
Well, I think the reason is Santana Dotson. They always had Reggie White. They always had Sean Jones. They never had a Santana Dotson who was putting more force up the middle. I think he's what's changed the Packer defense.
Kickoff now by Craig Hendrick and Steve Broussard from the 4-yard line for the Seattle Seahawks. And Broussard works his way to the 25-yard line, brought down by Keith McKenzie, who used to be a ball boy for the Seattle Seahawks. In fact, his uncle is the great Reggie McKenzie, who is involved with this front office and used to play offensive line up here. Well, the turnover story is a big one. Green Bay coming into today the #1 team in the NFL, tied with Washington for the turnover. Last year, they were 16th in the takeaway in the NFL.
Is that Broussard, the fellow that was turning back, had broken ribs prior to this game?
It is not Broussard, because Broussard is hovering over.
Like a helicopter?
Well, that's one way you can put it, sure. Why do you lead me into these?
You don't need any help. You're the man. How about this coach? This coach attended Montana State University in Bozeman, Montana.
He's a college quarterback.
I said, you're living right here in Seattle. Why do you go to Montana State? He says, the only place that offered me a scholarship. That's why you go there.
And a native from Seattle, longtime college coach, came from the University of Miami, Jerry, where Dennis Erickson won 2 national championships as he followed Jimmy Johnson with the Hurricane.
And we were interviewing him. He says, yeah, I'd like to talk to you, but my son's playing in the high school big game. I got to go. He was real good to us, sat down, looked at some film with us. Good man.
Green Bay has scored on a 13-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Freeman. Robert Brooks has been knocked out of the game with the concussion, out for the day. And there's John Michaels, the #1 pick out of USC, and a starter at left tackle today, and that is not a good sign.
Well, they're taping that. When you get your ankle taped over your shoe, it's mostly cosmetic. To do a good job if your ankle's hurt, that shoe's got to come off.
Rookie Phillip Daniels, a 4th-round pick out of Georgia, gets up, and while he trots off the field, let's check in with his NFL update. James Brown at our Fox Television Center in Hollywood. James?
Kevin Bobby Hebert in for Jeff George. A slow start for Hebert. He's thrown 2 picks. Here's the second of his picks, looking for the quick hitch. Marquez Pope picks him off instead. 55 yards to the end zone. 13-3. San Francisco in the second. Back to Seattle. Kevin Harlan and my guy, Jerry Glanville.
Marquez Pope, a former safety, now playing cornerback.
And he has the best fingernails in the National Football League. He has them professionally done so he can catch those interceptions.
Meyer, who's thrown 2 consecutive interceptions, lines up at his own 26. First down and 10 yards to go, and nowhere to run and nowhere to hide for Chris Warren.
Wow.
He takes it up the middle, and he has been ineffective in his limited time today.
He didn't have much chance there. I think he went backwards faster than he went frontwards. Now, here they're resting Reggie. Remember about that hamstring. Remember, he can't run after practice. He's got a big hole in his hamstring. He is not in the game now. He's trying to find some oxygen.
2 interceptions by Green Bay, 2 scores against the Seahawks by the Packers. It's 10-0 Green Bay. That's the end of the first quarter. We're back right after this. 13-7 to Green Bay in the second quarter. Seattle's Tony Burst blocked a Don Bracken punt, and Eugene Robinson returned it for a touchdown. Later in the third quarter, Dave Craig started today, by the way, for Chicago, following another Packer turnover, and starting for the Bears, as we said today, rolled right and scored, leading Seattle to a 24-13 win. Second down and 9. A pass goes outside to Brian Blades, and it whistles over his head. Incomplete as we start the second quarter with Green Bay on top 10-0.
And Green Bay Packers are resting some defensive line personnel right now. They got Darlis Holland in there playing the right tackle in place of Gilbert Brown. And as we said earlier, they got the big man, 92, on the sideline watching.
And Gabe Wilkins is in there. Third down and 9 coming up for Rick Meyer. Meyer hit as he throws, and again it's over the head of the intended receiver, Mike Pritchard, and it's incomplete. And once again, the Seahawks have got to punt the ball. So in 5 possessions today, Seattle 3 punts and 2 interceptions.
Not very accurate. I think they got hitting the big hit on Rick Meyer early, getting the penalty on Rick Meyer early, and now his throwing's off. Now everything's high and to the outside.
Rick Tootin today has already had a 63-yard punt. Deep back Desmond Howard, as you see Rick Tootin, 3rd in the NFL coming into today punting. Low line drive and returnable punt going to Howard from the 23-yard line, and Desmond Howard breaks free. And Howard, who had a 29-yard return earlier in the game today, returns that one for 17 yards. Tackled by Jay Bellamy and by James McKnight. 10-0 Green Bay.
Today is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailer. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. By Aflac, ensuring over 40 million people worldwide. And by Pizza Hut. You'll love the stuff we're made of.
Truly one of the great cities in the country, Seattle, Washington. With Jerry Glanville, Kevin Harlan, we are inside the Kingdom. We're at 72 degrees, but maybe we want to have a brand new stadium here, too. They're talking about that possible ownership change. We'll get into that in just a moment with the Seattle situation. Brett Favre has gone 2 of 7 today. He's got a first down and 10 yards to go, shy of his own 40-yard line. Favre going to his second receiver, and he hits Don Beebe, who makes his first catch today. And he takes the place of the injured Robert Brooks. He picks up 6 yards. It'll be second down and a long 3. Right now for a McDonald's game break. Let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Taking the place of Steve Walsh, Tony Banks, second-round draft choice out of Michigan State. Big guy with the big arm. Finding Isaac Bruce. Touchdown strike. 14-0 at that point. It's now 14-6. PAT is pending. Take it back to Kevin and Jerry.
Thank you, James. Second down and 3 for Green Bay. Edgar Bennett And he's being pushed by his own tight end, who is Keith Jackson. Dean Wells wrapped him up, and he'll be very close to a first down. He had to get right on the 50, and that's about where they're going to mark it. But we'll see where Ron Blum and his crew puts it down.
Watch the fullback. Watch the fullback block. His job is to dig out there, stick. Good heavy running by Bennett. That fullback, William Henderson, has sort of changed how heavy the Packers can run by heavy, full speed. Fighting his way, trying to dig Winston Moss out of there.
Green Bay is short. They did not get the first down. Oh, they did get, let's see, one side has the first down, the other side doesn't. Now they have given them the first down. First down and 10.
They were confused.
They were. Now they got to rearrange the sticks. First down and 10 yards to go. Double tight end for the first time today. Favre is hit and sacked again. Second sack on Brett Favre. This time it is five-time Pro Bowler Cortez Kennedy.
Well, this tackles the Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy can play. Cortez Kennedy's playing right in here. Club, never gives up, push, shove. Quarterback, that's more of a sack by the coverage. That's a coverage sack because the guard did a good job. Aaron Taylor's working as hard as he can. He had him long enough, but the ball didn't come out.
Favre hit last week 16 times, Jerry. 7 sacks. He was pressured most of the day.
And I think with the score being like it is, Green Bay can help Favre with running that football. You got the blocking fullback this year. You got the big Henderson.
Green Bay has burned another timeout. 10-0 the Packers. Jerry Glanville, second down, 15 for Brett Favre, and a drop pass going for Antonio Freeman, who's got a touchdown pass already today.
Was not hurried, but he brought the ball out behind him and low. Not a good throw by Favre. Not into that real good rhythm that he likes to get into.
This is rhythm offense.
Very much so. They have to have the rhythm. I think Seattle's been out of rhythm the whole year, and they need to get into rhythm, but nothing's working for Seattle.
Jerry, that number right there, 10 on one side, 11 on the other side, very good balance, running fast for Mike Holmgren.
I think that balance will stay there because Brooks is out for the ball game.
And you see some scores from around the NFL today. 3rd and 15, Green Bay on third downs today, 1 of 5. Favre to Beebe, wide and uncatchable, incomplete. Green Bay's got a punt again. Carlton Gray was covering Beebe on the sideline, and the defense for Seattle has not done that bad a job.
And Michael Sinclair leads the league, does a loop underneath Sam Adams. He's the left defensive end, and he runs a loop. This tackle's going to get upfield, and he's going to loop. And I think Favre fit. Watch, he come underneath, and here he comes in his face, and that causes that irate throw to my man, Beebe.
The last punt by Henford sailed 52 yards. This one will be considerably shorter. Deep back, they got Joey Galloway, who lets it bounce, and it takes a great Packer bounce inside the 15, inside the 10, and down somewhere near the 7 or 8 yard line. So a great Packer bounce, a 48-yard punt, and once again, Seattle has their backs against their wall as it seemed to have all afternoon long, and a flag was thrown on the far sideline.
Well, the official had his hat off. He just put it back on. Al Jury, when the official throws his hat off, that means somebody left the field of play and came back. Al Jury, number 106 on his back, he had his hat off and run around with a bare head. When you got a bare head, that's your signal that somebody ran out of the field of play, ran out of bounds. He put his hat back on. What you got to do when you throw your hat off like that, you got to be sure your head's not in it.
Former motorcycle cop.
Motorcycle cop from San Francisco.
Holding by the receiving team while the ball was in the air. Half the distance from the end of the run. First down, Seattle, timeout.
So it gets worse for Dennis Erickson and the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, time for Aflac question. Among active NFL players, who has intercepted the most passes? And the answer coming up right after this on Fox. The answer to our Aflac question: among active NFL players, who has intercepted the most passes? The answer, Eugene Robinson, who now has 44 career interceptions. He's had 1 today. 42 as a member of the Seahawks, 2 as a member of Green Bay. And Eugene Robinson played 11 seasons with this team in Seattle. Now he's on the defensive end watching his old teammate Chris Warren take it up the middle on 1st and 10 up to the 7-yard line. It's a pickup of 4 on 1st down. He was snuffed by George Kuntz. Eugene Robinson with a lot of his family here in attendance at the Kingdome today. And in just a moment, we'll get a chance to take a look at them as the 2-time Pro Bowler has already had an effect on this game. There they are.
And the thing Eugene told me, the biggest difference for playing with the Packers is you don't make 100 tackles a year or 95 tackles. He says he'll be lucky to make 40 tackles because the defensive line is so good.
All-time leading Seattle tackle. 2nd down and 6, and again they send Warren into what so far has been no man's land. He was knocked down below by Sean Jones. Warren, Jerry, 9 yards on 6 carries.
And that looked like a rugby play where they have the scrum where everybody leans on everybody. He scrummed it on in there with long stride, not much acceleration. Here's what we're charting today, how many yards he has after contact. He has 6 rushes, 9 yards, 8 after he was hit. That's what he's got to return to. He used to be a great back after being hit.
Packers have got the dime in there. 3rd down and a long 3 for Meyer. And the throw wide and uncatchable. Again going to Brian Blades. He's gone to him 4 times, and Blades has yet to get a pass. And they got a punt once again. So in 6 possessions for the Seahawks today, 4 punts, 2 interceptions. It has not been a good offensive afternoon.
And the crowd is starting to boo Rick Meyer. They think those passes look pretty ugly. If they think even they look ugly, I know what the coach thinks.
What do you think?
Not much. I think getting hit early, getting the illegal penalty on him, letting Reggie run full speed and hit him. Look at the height of that punt. That's right on the corner. Wow, what a punt.
Desmond Howard from the 39-yard line, and he gets a couple blocks, and he cuts it upfield, and Howard has had a good day returning punts, and he's into Seattle territory after a return of 11 yards on a 51-yard punt by Rick Tootin, the tackle made by Jay Bellamy.
Doesn't he look better when he doesn't run out of bounds, Kevin?
Yes.
Looks like a man. Take it up in there. You could tell that somebody spoke to him about running out of bounds. He looked afraid on that one.
Folks, a reminder, this game presented by the authority of the NFL, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the National Football League is prohibited. With Jerry Glanville, Kevin Harlan. Green Bay and a Favre touchdown and a Jackie field goal, up 10-0 over Seattle. This is the 4th start today by Green Bay in Seattle territory in 7 possessions. Favre, rushed again by Kennedy, throws it out to Dorsey Levens, and he stretches at the very end and comes close to a 1st down. The lunge may have gotten it, Jerry. Winston Moss chased him down the sideline.
And Favre had pressure. He was backpedaling, trying to get away from the pressure, and still puts the ball on. Not many people can do this. Now he's in the run backwards and still puts the ball right on the money. The Seahawk defense hasn't had a break. They've been coming in there on the wrong side of the 50 the whole day.
The chanting in the background you hear, "Go Pack Go." Over 20,000, almost 25,000 Packer fans inside the Kingdome today.
Well, you know why. They can't get a ticket at home. You can't buy a ticket at Green Bay. So if you're a real big Packer fan, your best shot's to go to Minnesota or go to Seattle or go on the road where you can go to Detroit. You can get 20,000 in there.
This is what we saw all weekend up and down the hills of beautiful downtown Seattle. People with cheese on their head.
You worry about them, don't you?
As a native Green Bay person, yeah, I am a bit concerned.
I want to see you walk around with some cheese on your head.
Stick around, you may see them.
Okay.
First down, 10 yards to go. They do get the 1st down with the marker on the far sideline. There goes a flag as Bennett squirms his way for a couple, brought down by Michael Barber, the linebacker.
Well, they were pulling the left guard, Aaron Taylor, but while they were doing that, somebody on the right side jumped early. It was either Dotson or Timmerman. Somebody on the tight end side jumped while the left guard was pulling.
98 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5 yards, repeat 1st down.
Number 1 pick, Sam Adams. The Jerry's had sore ankles, and they're a bit disappointed in his play. They thought here in year 3 that he'd be producing a little bit more than he's been producing.
Well, he had some good plays early. Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy, 2 tackles inside, should make you pretty good in there.
And penalties even now at 2 apiece. First down and 5 yards to go. Green Bay at the 34 of Seattle, leading 10-0. A little play action. He bullets it into the arms of Mark Chmura, and that is dropped, and that is incomplete. Seems like every time Favre has thrown, one of his receivers has been double and triple covered. That is the 3rd drop by a Packer receiver today.
Well, there wasn't much room, and he gunned this. He had a lot of mustard on this cheese ball. His cheese ball. Watch how hard he throws this. And it's coming pretty good, but the tight end's got to catch that. He hit him right between the 8 and the 9. Chmura, you got to hang on to that one, darling. You won't go to the Pro Bowl this year without catching that.
Signed a big contract in the offseason. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Green Bay at the 34 of Seattle. So a draw play handoff, and that is brought down. Nowhere to run and nowhere to hide for Edgar Bennett. Winston Moss, the leading tackler on the defense, makes the stop.
The defense is doing a good job turning this back, making them kick field goals. Watch everybody play up inside. Good pressure coming up by Cortez Kennedy. Cuts him right up into Winston Moss, and Winston Moss sticks his face right on the sternum and runs with him. That's good football.
Jerry, coming into the season, the one concern people had viewing the Packers, the writers, people even in the organization, the offensive line. Was it deep enough? Was it good enough?
Well, I don't think the guards will have any bigger workout than what they're going to get today. They'll know when this game's over if they can handle 2 good tackles.
3rd down and 6, and Brett Favre goes incomplete. That is a bullet over the head of Desmond Howard, who is in there because Robert Brooks is out with the concussion. Green Bay now faced with a 4th down.
Watch Favre sag backwards as he's throwing this. I saw him doing this against Minnesota. I hadn't seen this prior to that. See if you can see him sagging backwards a little bit. He's better off on the run. That's not his normal throwing motion. I think they better start filming him in practice and try to correct anything they can see wrong, because that was on film last week. He's better mechanically than that ordinarily.
Hendrick to Puchet, aiming for the corner, and it's into the end zone. That'll be a touchback, and Seattle will get it again. A 35-yard punt by Hendrick.
Good defense by Seattle again, stopping them when they're starting inside the 50.
Jerry Glanville at the Kingdome in Seattle. Packers up on a Favre touchdown. You can see where the Seahawks have shown great difference from how they finished last year. They finished 6-2 last year, Jerry. Now they begin 1-4 this season.
And 6-2, they were +6. They were -5 coming into this, and now they're -7 counting today.
Meyer has thrown 2 interceptions. One to Reggie White, one to Eugene Robinson. And here he goes again, pressured. And the second best running quarterback in the NFL, Rick Meyer, takes it up to the 29, pressured by Wayne Simmons, flushed from the pocket, and he picks up 9.
If I was Rick Meyer, I'd look around and say, what's going on? Now they turn Wayne Simmons, is as tough a guy as there is, coming off this side, and nobody gets on him. Ed Cunningham comes out late. Here's Simmons, untouched. And that's happened to Meyer about 3 or 4 times, and that shakes your rhythm. That gets you so you can't be effective. The injury on this play.
Speaking of being shaken up is Reggie White, face down at the 7-yard line. They've already lost Robert Brooks today to a concussion. And we spent a great deal the first part of the game talking about how Green Bay and Mike Holmgren, Jerry, had been basically injury-free last couple of years.
And there's Mike Holmgren saying, what happened? How'd that happen? Reggie will be the left end. He'll be coming from this side right here. Let's see what happens. Got hit by the linebacker, Wayne Simmons, 2 inches above the patella.
Reggie White is up. And you can hear it all the way here in Seattle. The entire state of Wisconsin has just breathed a collective sign of relief.
Well, I just saw the 20,000 Packer fans that bought a ticket here because they all stood up and started clapping. I know where the Packer fans are. I saw them all at that.
Eating a little wine and cheese in the parking lot before the game.
Absolutely. Sleeping in Seattle. What a great city. What a great city. If you want to move and have fun in a good city, Seattle sure is fun.
2nd down, 1. Warren gobbled up by Gilbert Brown.
It's fun unless you're playing for the Seahawks.
Brown may not have held on all that much, and he didn't. He lost his helmet in the process, but he only limited him to a gain of 2, and it's a first down for Seattle.
That was sort of a slow motion play. When his helmet came off, if you're really flying around, sometimes some guy will try to recover your helmet thinking it's a football. But Gilbert Brown and Santana Dotson have changed the Packers defense.
Brown was picked off the wire, and Dotson was a unrestricted free agent. Here goes Chris Warren banging off the right side and picking up 5 yards to the 36-yard line. Eugene Robinson made the tackle, and that's about the best we've seen Chris Warren run today.
Well, he runs high, and he's a long strider, but he could always go through contact. And if you watch him run, he doesn't give you much body lean, and he gives you a long stride.
Reggie White back in the game for the Green Bay Packers, and that is a good sign if you're a Green Bay fan.
I think Wayne Simmons just banged him on the knee as they were diving for the quarterback.
Second down and 4, and Meyer hit, and there's a fumble on the play, and it's recovered by Santana Dotson. And Dotson is brought down by receiver Joey Galloway. It is the 3rd Seattle turnover today, the first fumble, and again the Seahawks have shot themselves in the foot.
Well, Rick Meyer hasn't got a chance. 2 people are going to be free. They're going to win the contest. That's the run. That's the long run where it's the best run that we've had by Chris Warren. Now we missed it there, but 2 people came free on the quarterback.
Wayne Simmons knocked it away. Watch this.
Look at Wayne and look at Reggie on the arm over. And they're fighting. Only person the Packers got to fight over is another Packer to get to the quarterback. Rick Meyer does not have a chance.
Seattle has turned it over 3 times. Green Bay trying to cash in. First down and 10 from the Seahawks 28. Edgar Bennett with the block from Henderson. And he's inside the 25 to the 23. Dean Wells makes the stop. And Jerry, one of the great stories of this game is you see Santana Dotson, after returning that fumble recovery for a couple yards, has been the defense of Seattle. They have had to go in there with incredible circumstances, it seems, every time Green Bay's had the ball.
I'm glad you said that, because Dean Wells, the middle linebacker, number 95, just made a great play. Nothing's going right, but nobody's surrendering. The Seahawks on defense are playing as hard as they can play. He just made one of the best tackles I've seen this year.
Second down and 6 from the 24. Barr throws. That is caught for a first down to the Seahawks 17-yard line. Don Beebe with the tackle made by Darrell Williams.
Don Beebe, we had a nice talk with him. Here's the guy. Don Beebe made the great play in the Super Bowl. Unbelievable Super Bowl where the game's over, but he never surrenders and quits and knocks that ball out of there in that Super Bowl play. Saw a little bit of that again today.
Knocked it out of Leon Lett's hand in Dallas.
Leon Lett. He says he gets letters from coaches, fathers, parents, saying what an example of a guy never surrendering, never giving up. The score at the time was 52-17, and he just kept on fighting.
First and 10 for Green Bay. Chimura to the 6-yard line. As Favre is dead, solid, perfect, close to a first down. Robert Blackman makes the stop.
And that's Brett Favre. When you said perfect, this is perfect. Watch the gun on the quarterback. A little play action, pull it out. RPM ball, he could throw that ball. That's a frozen rope. That ball goes through a car wash and doesn't get wet. You can't break on that ball. That's why he's the MVP, with a pass like that.
That's not too good.
No. But I got to say this poor defense has been hung out to dry.
Jerry, 5 times Green Bay has started inside Seahawk territory in the 7 times that they've had the ball.
That makes it 2-10. In the National Football League, the short field costs you the game. The field is too short. You got to make him go 60, 70 yards. You can't be letting him have all these short fields.
It'll be second down and 1. He did not get far enough for the first down.
Was that a throw? That's a frozen rope. Take a rope. If you live in Green Bay, take a rope in the middle of January, cut it about 8 inches long, throw it out in your backyard, and go pick it up when the snow melts. That's what that pass was. Like a stick.
Second down and 1. Double tight ends, Chimura and Jackson. Favre on the roll. to Chimera. Incomplete at the 1-yard line. Incomplete at the 1, covered by Barber, the linebacker, and Gray, the cornerback.
Bootleg inside the 10-yard line. Both teams. Once Green Bay, they're just like the 49ers, and they're just like Seattle, although Seattle may never get there today. Inside the 10-yard line is bootleg, and with the 2 tight ends, tried to get it to his all-pro Chimera.
It's 3rd down and 1. Green Bay's got to get inside the 6 for a goal, and they may do it as Favre takes it on the quarterback keeper. Following Winters, the center. Taylor on the left side, and Timmerman, the right guard.
A little pushing and shoving here. Barber's shoving. Everybody's coming to the rescue. Don't get a penalty down there. If you're a Packer, your coach tells you, don't you get a penalty inside the 10-yard line, I'm going to break your plate. There's no more free lunch on Friday.
Before the game, the Seahawks players, Jerry, as they came out, I was on the field with you, were visibly upset over all the Green Bay fans in the Kingdome. They looked around. It seemed to get them emotionally and involved before the game.
Well, that happened at Minnesota last week. The Vikings were upset because there's so many Packer fans. But that little thing only lasts till somebody lines up and slugs you in the mouth, and that little emotion doesn't carry you through a game. You still got to look at the cheeseheads. You got to love their following. You got to love their fans. If they knew they could get a ticket in China, they would go. Do they eat cheese in China? Cheese and rice, I guess.
If they don't, they may start.
The year of the cheese.
Green Bay gets the 1st down. 1st down, goal to go inside the 6. Packers lead it 10-0.
2 tight ends down at the bottom, Kevin. That's called a pair.
Edgar Bennett to the 3. Winston Moss, the X-Raider, leading tackler for the Seahawks, makes the stop.
When I saw those 2 tight ends, that's usually a bootleg, so they broke their tendency. That's usually a bootleg, and both those tight ends can come out on a bootleg. They had me. As a defensive coach, I'd have been playing bootleg. Wasn't there.
Packers come in 3-1. A win today, their best start since the strike-shortened 82 season.
And back to first place because Minnesota got beat.
They're playing for a lot in today's game. 2nd down and goal from the 4. 7th play of the drive. The fake end around. Look out, Brett Favre from behind, and he throws, and it's a touchdown to Dorsey Levens.
Well, only a Favre can do that. Anybody else would have been smacked, sacked, knocked the ball out. The ball's probably laying on the ground, and the defense is going the other way. What does he do? Throw a touchdown. If I was the head coach of the Packers, I'd have Favre move in with me. I wouldn't let him out of my sight at night. He'd never get in trouble.
Well, Favre's wife may have a problem with that, but I understand your thinking on it.
Well, bring her with him.
Extra point by Chris Jackie on the Hendrick hold is good. Brett Favre has thrown his 2nd touchdown pass, and Dorsey Levens, a 3rd down back, usually running from the single ace back position, had a great catch as Favre took a beating on this hit by Winston Moss.
Little razzle-dazzle. Fake the lead, fake the reverse, and now he's being chased by Winston Moss. Boom, Winston hits him. All that going on.
How come he was so wide open?
Because they took the bite on the reverse, and they took the bite on the lead draw up inside. He's holding his head there. I believe Favre got a headache on this one. But Favre, he doesn't care. Favre just loves to play. Favre, you take 2 quarterbacks, Favre and Harbaugh. If you say nobody's getting paid the rest of the year, everybody's got paid for free. These 2 guys, Harbaugh and this guy right here, they'll play for nothing. They love football.
Brett Favre appears to be okay. That is good news to Packer fans. 17-0 Green Bay. The Packers have scored all their points on Seattle turnovers.
On the short field, 50 yards of push.
And the kickoff by Craig Hendricks. Steve Broussard from the 4-yard line. The backup running back for the Seahawks gets by McKenzie and then runs out of bounds near the 27-yard line. There you see Brett Favre, who has capitalized on 3 turnovers today, a couple touchdowns in the field goal by Jackie from 36 yards.
And I think the Seahawks defense came to play hard. They wanted to get after. They wanted to prove they're a good team. Oh, they're booing the quarterback. They're bringing Meyer out, and you can hear the Seahawks fans. They don't want to see any more of Meyer, but Meyer probably didn't want to see any more of the Packer defense when you're not going to block him.
Now, earlier in the season, Erickson pulled Meyer because of ineffective play. And before the season, he said, I wouldn't do that. And he apologized to Meyer for pulling him against Denver.
He brought in Freeze. Now, Freeze was the quarterback that was playing when they went 6 out of the last 8.
Meyer hands off on 1st and 10. Chris Warren, after a gain of 3, brought down by George Koontz. So last week, Meyer in the 4th quarter is like, by that time, 8 for 20. Throws an interception. As you see, backup John Freeze, who backs up Meyer. They did not pull Meyer last week. Meyer said that was a confidence boost for him. He stayed in the game and played about as well as he has ever played for the Seattle Seahawks. He's under the same circumstances today.
Unfortunately, he's playing a different team. He can't get the time like he did against Tampa Bay in the 4th quarter. In fact, he hadn't had any time all day. Credit. Here's Green Bay after him again. It's a screen.
2nd down and 7 play. And Chris Warren was drilled by Eugene Robinson. Incomplete pass.
Eugene Robinson spent most of his career playing right here. And I did ask Eugene, when you come back, your playing career is all over. Where are you going to live? He's going to come back and live in Seattle. He said, I love Green Bay, but my life after football will be in Seattle, playing man-to-man. Bam! Knocks that ball out.
11 years here, why not? And he was a fixture in this community, Jerry. They hated to see him go, but they were probably happy to see that he could be traded and still play and start for another team. Meyer has gone 0 for his last 5. 3rd down and 7. And he's going deep. And the pass is caught. A 1st down to the Green Bay 47. Mike Pritchard with the pickup of 23.
And what a throw. He threw the fade route as good as you can throw it. 1-2, threw it on the 3rd step. That tells you this youngster can play. He just needs to have protection and needs not to be behind all the time. Watch this throw. Is that on the money? Throwing it to a guy I drafted out of Colorado.
Another 3rd down reception, the 2nd of the day for Mike Pritchard, who's caught a couple today and 6 for the entire year. Seattle down 17-0. Late 1st half, Chris Warren with a good run. Warren plowing over defenders and a gain of about 10 to the Green Bay 37. Craig Newsom, the cornerback, came up to stick him. Derek Graham on the offensive line let him open with a great block.
Just a blast play. What you're going to see is he's just heading off tackle. He's going to run off the right tackle. Looking for a little daylight, and he sees some daylight. Does a little stutter step. Now look him straight up. He's a straight up runner. He doesn't go flat back on you, but he could always run through arm tackle.
I was standing next to him on the field before the game. I couldn't believe, Jerry, how big he was. He is a tall. He has Chuck Foreman type size, a former Minnesota Viking running back.
Well, he really reminds me of Eric Dickerson, too, because he doesn't bend over. Eric Dickerson ran straight up. And I always thought that our team could gang tackle a guy that stayed up. Here's after contact. He has a total of 28 yards. After contact, he's got 17. And that's how he got to the Pro Bowl. And that's how everybody respected him, is what he did after contact. Look at the size of that guy. He has not missed a meal. That's Gilbert Brown. He got his McDonald's biscuit. Ate that whole thing.
1st down and 10. Warren picked up the 1st down. Warren again up the middle. And Chris Warren breaks free. He's got 1 to beat, and it's a touchdown for the Seahawks. And on the way, he broke a tackle by former teammate Eugene Robinson.
That's what he was noted for. Smack you around and get yardage, and he hadn't done it all year. Maybe he's back. There he is. The crowd loves him. He loves it. He hadn't done that all year.
His first touchdown of the season comes in Week 5 against the #1 defense in the NFL.
And we just showed you a chart. What happened after contact. Now that's what he's all about. Still didn't get any body lean. Still didn't bend over, but could always smack you.
Extra point by Todd Peterson. Rick Tootin will hold on the Kevin Malai punt. Snap is good. The placement is down, and Peterson puts it in. And it's 17-7 Green Bay as Chris Warren rumbles for 37 yards.
like most.
And you coming up in the Doctors Khakis halftime report. JB, Terry, and the crew will bring you scores and highlights from Week 5 of the NFL. All coming up in the Doctors Khakis halftime report. With Jerry Glanville, Kevin Harlan, and Santana Dotson had a chance to knock down the running back, as did Eugene Robinson.
And George Kuntz. All three of them. You're going to see the replay. Sit on the edge of your couch because you're going to see the man run after contact. He ran through Santana, George Kuntz, and Eugene Robinson. Yards after contact. The man is back.
Todd Peterson's kickoff for the Seahawks. Lands in the hands of Dorsey Levens. He'll take it out of the end zone, and here he goes, and brought down. And a fired-up Seattle team will watch Green Bay start at their own 7-yard line. Let's take another look at the touchdown.
Santana Dotson, George Kuntz. There's Robinson. Here's the man after contact. We had the chart up. Here's what he has not been doing. Watch Santana, good play. Boom, on the leg. Here comes Kuntz trying to push him. He's off and running. No, he's shaking his head and talking to him as he's running. Here's what's going on after contact. 52 yards. That hadn't happened to the day. You got to make it happen. Best defensive position. They've been on the other side to 50. First time they've been lined up down here.
Green Bay Packers with their worst starting position of the day, and it's a quick throw. And Favre has just hit his receiver for a first down to the 21-yard line. Antonio Freeman picks up 14 yards.
And there's Favre. There's the coach. See, roll the wrist. Do it again. Do it again. Throw another slant. When he's not calling a new play, when he just makes a circle, that's repeat the play.
Timeout number 2. This is
timeout taken by Seattle. And remember, Freeman now takes on a more focused role because of the concussion suffered by Robert Brooks early in the game.
And why would Seattle call timeout? Because there's a minute 37. Look up here. There's the old Fox box. You got a minute 37. They're hoping to get the ball back in time to do something.
Sam Adams is up and walking off, and you can see the timeouts coming out of our Fox box. 2 for the Packers, 1 for Seattle.
He's got a hitch in his get-along as he's walking out of there.
Adams has had injury problems, but to his ankles. And I don't know if that's a problem with his ankle right there or not.
Well, they need him in there.
1:37 in the second quarter. First down, 10 yards to go. Favre sets up the screen and throws it away. Winston Moss had a hand on it. Incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, they brought in Glenn Too Short Montgomery, the guy they made a trade for with the Houston Oilers, and he smells it. Cortez Kennedy coming off to the left of your screen. Oh, nice play. Nice play even by McCrary. Did you see McCrary getting his hand on the screen?
2nd down and 10. Bennett and Levens in the backfield. Handoff goes to Edgar Bennett, and he's to the 26-yard line. Michael McCrary brings him down after a gain of 5.
And Dean Wells. We keep talking about the middle linebacker for the Seattle. See, Dean Wells can play. Here's the guy that was a down lineman, but he can play linebacker. Watch him in here on the counter. He starts off. It's a sweep left. No, it's not. I got to come back right. Gets help from the outside position. Gets help from McCrary. Big 3rd down here for the Seattle. Seattle's got to win here to get back in the game.
Dean Wells has just called a timeout for the Seahawks. I don't know if they had the wrong formation out there, and that irritates Dennis Erickson, who burns a timeout. Jerry, a timeout they may have been able to use had they gotten the ball back.
And, you know, Packers weren't stalling for time. They were coming up to run the play. But Dean Wells is the captain out there, and something he didn't like with the matchups. They're going to bring back in, I think Sam Adams is going to come back in the game.
They may have had just 10 players on the field. Coming up on the Doctors Khakis halftime report, JB and Terry bringing you the scores and highlights from Week 5 of the NFL, all coming up. We call it the Doctors Khakis halftime report.
And did you see the shirt collar JB had on? He looks like he's at a private rich school. He has on one of these little private collars, so when you watch the halftime, we need to send in notes and ask JB to get a new shirt.
Mike Holmgren, who in 1989 had a chance to go to the Cardinals or the Jets and decided to go back to San Francisco where he was offensive coordinator. Then when Ron Wolf called and Green Bay offered him the job, he thought this is the right position. He's been there now 5 years. He's taken the team to 3 consecutive playoff berths.
He's 3-9 in the domes, and that's kind of a mystery because his team is a fast team and a rhythm team, which you get in domes.
Third down and 5, minute 3 remaining in the first half. Bennett and Levens again line up in the backfield. And tight end Keith Jackson is on the move. A little fake by Favre, a little throw caught by Levens, and he's to the 29-yard line, picking up 3 and about 2 yards shy of the first down.
And there's a bootleg with 2 people coming out for Favre. Not many people run a bootleg like this because he'll have double receivers. You'll see that tight end in motion, but watch the back. The back's coming out the same way as the tight end. So it's unusual when he does his bootleg. He has a tight end, he had Keith Jackson, and he had the running back, Edgar Bennett, both coming out of there.
5th punt and 8 Packer possessions today, and the play clock is ticking down, and the time off the regular clock is ticking down.
So they'll just take the penalty, won't they?
Stop the clock with 1 second remaining, not lose any yardage, and take one of their 2 remaining timeouts. Right?
Right. 20 seconds, and with the way that they've been getting after Meyer, I don't think that coach there is too worried. I don't think he thinks they're going to come the distance.
Favre with 2 touchdown passes. Eugene Robinson and Reggie White with interceptions. A fumble by Meyer has caused Dennis Erickson to sit and think a little bit. His quarterback, though, led him on a nice drive the last time they had the ball.
And the quarterback hasn't had time. You're going to get yourself in trouble when you turn big men loose to come in and make a smack on you when nobody's impeding their entry into your backfield. I think he had to change his number.
That's the number he wore at Notre Dame, the same number that Joe Montana wore at Notre Dame, the reason why he wore it there and wears it here.
But a 3 in the National Football League is a kicker. Quarterbacks don't want field goals. He should change that to 7 or 6 or 8.
He's a tough kid.
He is. Needs a little help. Needs a little better protection. Keep big men like that from smacking him without blocking him.
Craig Hendrick to punt once again, the 5th Green Bay punt in 8 possessions. On his high and hanging, Joey Galloway, the first-round pick a year ago, circles onto the ball, and then as he tried to cut, he slips at the 33 and returns it just 5 yards after a 42-yard punt.
Well, he was trying to jump up in there and then turn around and come out and make a big play. He really doesn't want to return punts, but he says it's a chance to get my hands on the ball, and with their passing game, that may be his only chance right now.
11 seconds left. Meyer has no timeouts with which to work, and down by 10.
Well, the worst thing you do now is turn the ball over. To me, with what's going on, you end up with this play being sure you got the ball and nobody else has got it. Don't do anything to hurt your defense here with 11 seconds. Because your chances of scoring here are not very good.
So first down and 10, 3 wide receivers from his own 34-yard line. Meyer will wind up and throw, and he's picked off again. Craig Newsome with his first interception of the season, and Meyer has just thrown his 3rd interception of the day.
Well, that's what's going to happen to you when you try to get it all in that situation. They're just laying back playing for that jump ball.
Just a second remaining in the first half, and Green Bay most likely will fall to a knee and run out the clock. What has been a pretty good-looking first half for the Packers in the wake, Jerry, of what was a horror show in Minneapolis last Sunday.
And they had a little pass protection early this time, but it wasn't from the tackle. They got in a little trouble with the guard protection. Adam Timmerman had a little trouble with Sam Adams, and then Aaron Taylor had a little trouble with Cortez Kennedy, but that's no disgrace. Those 2 guys can play.
Reggie White had an interception in the first half. Green Bay leads it 17-7. JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie will be back at the Fox Television Center along with the Dockers Khakis halftime after these messages from your local station.
You've been